All right, so picking up hopefully where we left off, let's see if we can continue here. So we were looking at b squared, which equals, in this case, 9. And so that's going to be b equals 3. And it won't let me erase the weird b. I'm sorry, I don't know why this little line is here. Anyways, so b is going to be 3. So then from my center, I'm going to go the non-dominant direction. So to the right 3 and to the left 3, which gets me just off the graph, but that's okay. And then connect the dots. And that's it. On to the next one. That's the most beautiful ellipse I've ever drawn. Okay, on to the next question. Hold on just one second. My little device here is being a little funny. And here we go. Let's see. That's better. So then this one, we have a slight situation. We need our ellipse equations to be in standard form, which means we have 2 fractions. And so I need this guy to be a fraction. So I'm going to put a 1 under it. Now I have 2 fractions. Then I look for, again, the bigger number under or in the denominator. Oopsie. Sorry about that. Just magically zoomed out of nowhere. See if we can get that to go away. There we go. Okay, then, sorry about that. Okay, so here we go with our a. So this one is bigger. That's my a squared, which means this is vertical. Then I would get my center, which is at -3, -4. So -3, -4. There we go. And then using my a, so a squared is 4, which means a is 2. I'm going to go in the vertical direction, dominant direction, up 2, down 2. Then my b squared is 1, which makes my b 1. And so in the non-dominant direction, I'm going to go 1 in each way, which is going to be right and left, and then connect the dots. There we go. All right, one more in practicing this, graphing the ellipse. So this one, again, checking out, looking for the bigger number in the denominator. This one's going to be the 9. That's going to be my a squared. So this is horizontal since the 9 is under the x. Then I find the center. The center here would be 2, 4. So put that on the graph, over 2, up 4. Then using my a squared is 9. So a is going to be 3. So from the center, I'm going to go horizontal, dominant direction, 1, 2, 3. And back, left, 1, 2, 3. Then for the other direction, I'm going to go to my b squared, which is 4. So b is going to be 2 from the center, go up 2 and down 2, the non-dominant direction there, and then connect the dots with a smooth curve. All right, so that's good practice in graphing. So then we're going to look at some equations. So this is similar to what we did with circles, where we have 2 squared variables, but we're going to deal with the squared variables here a little bit differently than we did with circles. So the first thing we check typically is that number in front of our squared variables. We have 2 different numbers, which is going to cause us some problems in the future. But we're going to start by leaving those alone, which is weird. It's different than what we did in the past. I'm going to actually start by moving the 71 to the other side. Then I'm going to put x's together, 9x squared minus 18x plus blank, then plus 16y squared plus 64y plus blank equals 71 plus blank plus blank. So mostly that should look pretty normal, except for the fact that we have numbers in front of our x squared and our y squared, which we're not really allowed to do. So here's how we kind of cheat the system. for the x's only to start with. I can't divide everything by 9 because that's going to make a mess for my whole problem. So instead, I'm going to factor it out. So I get something not like that because I didn't actually factor. Let's try that again. Oh no, it won't let me fix it. Let me see if I can get back just a second. There we go. Okay, so no, I don't want tablet mode. Okay, let's see if I can fix that problem. Of course not. Why would it let me fix it? Hold on, I'm sorry, guys. Just a second. Okay, we're gonna try that one more time on that one. Okay, so again, we started by moving that 71 to the other side. Then I set up my x's together, and then my blanks, plus 16y squared minus 64y plus blank equals 71 plus blank plus blank. Great. Okay, so we were talking about the fact that we can't really divide because it's going to cause us a really big mess in this problem. So instead we factor. So let me actually factor out the 9. This time I get plus blank like that. So if I distribute the 9 back through, I should have mostly what I started with. We'll come back to that in a minute. I'm going to do the same thing with the y's. So I'm going to factor out 16, and I have y squared minus 4y plus blank, like that. And I still have all my blanks. Okay, so here's the tricky part. I'm going to complete the square. Actually, that's not the tricky part. That's what we already know how to do. Bring down the negative 2. Divide by 2 and square it, no sweat. But what's tricky is I put a 1 in this blank, but on the other side, I'm going to put a 9. That's a very tricky part because we haven't done that ever. So here's the issue. Because I factored out the 9, if I distribute it back through, I would have 9 times x squared is 9x squared. 9 times negative 2x is negative 18x. 9 times 1 is 9. So what I'm really adding to my problem is 9. So I hope we can see that, why we have 9 on the right-hand side. Then I'm going to erase those lines so we don't get confused here. Then I do the same thing with the y's. Complete the square, bring down the negative 4, divide by 2 is negative 2, and square it, we get 4. And then on the other side, though, I have to figure out what actually goes in the blank. So if I go back and think about redistributing, 16 times y squared is 16y squared. 16 times negative 4y, negative 64y. And 16 times 4 would give me 64. So I'm actually adding 64 to both sides. So it's a little weird. Okay, so from there, our steps are going to be very similar to what we've seen in the past. I don't know where my work went. There we go. Sorry. Okay, so here, all this stuff with completing the square still turns into parentheses squared. I would have x minus 1. Remember, we steal that 1 from right there. But I have the 9 in front. I have a plus sign between my variables. That comes down. There it is. Then again, over here, the y's factor into parentheses squared, y. And then over here, again, steal that number, minus 2. And the 16 stays in front. And then equals on this side, I got to do some math. Let's see. I have 71 plus 9 is 80 plus 64 is